Okay, you ready to talk about... I don't even know what to call this book. What is this book? What is this series?
Girl, I don't know. I didn't read it.
I'd like the fact that because I want to record the episodes for this series as I read the series, and because of that, I'm not gonna be able to read the next one until Monday or Tuesday, is really just affecting me personally, because I really have the urge to pick up the next one immediately.
Do it. I don't know what's the problem.
Well, the problem is I have other things I have to read.
Okay, and
I'm pretty sure I should read Hold Me before the library is...
That would be nice.
Because it's due by the end of this weekend, so I gotta read that.
It goes straight into my hands, and I will not return it until after I read it.
Yep. I don't know. Courtney Blondes, I tend to read really fast, so that should be fine.
Well, hopefully that applies to me, too.
I believe in you. I think it can happen. I mean, the only Courtney Blondes I've read are historical romances, but generally I read hers fast. And I like her writing, so... Every once in a while I just remember she's an actual lawyer. She was an actual lawyer. God! It just clicks in my brain every once in a while. And then I remember that whole shifter romance suing thing. God, that was hilarious.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
When are you gonna write book?
Hey, so,
Don't avoid my question. Don't avoid my question. I ask you a question, you answer it.
Oh my god, her real name is Heidi?
What?
Courtney Milan's real first name is Heidi.
You're trying to distract me. Answer the damn question.
Yes, I am.
Answer the question.
Alright, hello, welcome to a Fish and Flower podcast. I'm Flower, aka Rose. My fun fact is that because of this book that we're talking about that is in the title, so you should know what it is, I am rewatching Hannibal, and we don't need to talk about it. It's just there were similar themes, and just sometimes I want murder romance, right? And it just seemed right in my brain, and now it's taken back over my life. And honestly, I have not sent... Did I even ever tell you about the part where Hannibal gives Will his heart by killing someone and then bends all their bones backwards and turns them into a human heart, like a giant human heart, and then leaves them in a church for Will to find?
Oh my god. Oh.
Did I ever tell you about that?
No.
That was his apology for stabbing Will. Iconic.
I'd fold. I don't know what the fuck Will's doing. I'd fold.
Will did fold. He literally found him in catacombs.
I found it up apparently, God!
I do bring up the one where they, the still where they look like they're about to kiss, and, at the same time, the social worker is cutting himself out of a dead horse that he was put inside of. Yeah, that was a good one. It's just, listen, they're literally called murder husbands in the show, so, I'm still laughing about the, Will Graham, more like Will Dam.
I need you to get a hobby. I mean, write your damn book.
My hobby is Hannibal. I don't know what you're talking about.
Get a productive hobby, respectfully. That's not a hobby.
Listen, I needed a new comfort show. You have Heartstopper, and I have Hannibal.
I haven't watched Heartstopper at all this year. I haven't watched Heartstopper since season 2 came out because I was so normal about it.
It's my new comfort show, because, listen, I love how my two comfort shows are shows where it's, very queer-coded.
I wonder why.
Between a tall blonde, and a brunette. What is...
I wonder why.
Between Merlin and Hannibal, I really think we have issues. And by we, I mean me. Anyways, do your intro.
My name is Fish, aka Stingray, and you know, man, I don't have a fucking fact. I don't know.
Right? It's like, after a whole year, I've run out. Like, what do I do?
Gay, just woman. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, I would like you to know, after sending you that one video of the woman with the belt, I keep on getting more woman with the belt. The same exact motions and everything, and every single time I'm like, good God.
Well, from the comments and stuff, it sounds like it's a trend, so.
Yeah, it's a trend.
I'm down for it. You're seeing more, but you're not sending them to me?
Yeah.
I thought you loved me.
I do.
The one with the same girl, the parent one hit harder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that I see other girls doing as well. This is a very stream of conscious podcast, very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. Today we have The Risk, which is the first book in the Mindfuck series. That's gonna be the erotica until my birthday, I'm pretty sure. Wait, let me check. Yeah, that's the erotica until my birthday month. Which I'm counting as a bonus present.
Stop talking about your birthday, because I keep remembering I have to read Bloodmark.
A quick thing, before we talk about the actual book, the day this episode goes out, we may be recording like a whole month ahead of schedule, basically. Remember all the times where I talked about how I wanted to start recording ahead of schedule again? Look at me go. I'm actually doing it.
Oh my God. I was going to look at the fucking graphic for this one, and then I just saw the one for the love hypothesis, and then the subject line. I was like, oh my God.
But, in 2 days after this episode comes out is when our 1-year anniversary of this podcast is. Which is wild.
Crazy, man. We don't have a life for real.
I know, right? And being as the first episode, was Heartstopper, we figured we'd do a bonus anniversary episode where I finally watched Red, White, and Royal Blue, because yes, I still have not seen that movie. I've seen many videos on it. I know what happens.
I've watched it twice. I keep wanting to watch it.
I haven't watched it, but my sister has.
What the fuck?
She is obsessed with it. Dude, I should just, like, put you two in contact with each other, because she, like...
Why?
She loves Red, White, Royal Blue,
more
and
gay than you, and she's not gay.
I know. It's all that soccer.
Like, oh...
Anyways, The Risk, aka Mindfuck Book 1. I'm just gonna say this now. This is a dark romance. Like, it's a thriller erotica. It's not blatantly said about the rape and sexual assault. To other people, yes. But it is heavily insinuated. Right? And then there's also murder and torture. Those are the 4 content warnings. Murder and torture constantly happening.
About the murder and torture.
Yeah.
Murder and torture. I said LOL.
She's murdering and torturing people who definitely deserve it. Okay, here's the issue with me. I was like maybe 10 pages into this book when the first kill happens, I'm pretty sure. In book kill. And I realized, oh no. This book is going to be like all those times when I'm like, hell yeah, Team Mara Dyer, like, stab the rapist, like, all that stuff. This is going to be the epitome of that, and people realizing I'm crazy when I say I'm going to break a rapist's knees with a baseball bat, right? Like, is that to a next level?
That you want to break kneecaps with. It's so
I don't know what's happened with me breaking kneecaps. That was just a thing I randomly said, and now it's just a thing I say now. Who knows? But yeah, it's very much revenge porn in that aspect. Also, the way that the book starts, but like, before the first chapter, stuff, it is one insinuated that it is for all the victims who survived and whatnot. Like every victim and all this stuff, which iconic. And two, seemed very cathartic for the author herself. I'm not gonna go into detail about that because she can't even say anything because she is dead. I literally, the way that I learned that after I finished this book, it's just, we don't need to talk about that because I'm still distraught about that. But yes, the only books she wrote under the pen name St. Abby that took me like 10% of the book to realize was Stabby, I hate myself, is the series, right? And she has multiple pen names. She has multiple pen names she wrote under, and like under the descriptions of what each pen name she wrote, in those pen names, for St. Abby, it literally says dark thriller erotica / stabby books.
Valid.
And we love that.
When you told me what happened last night, I was just like, oh my god, what the fuck, man?
I have 31 highlights I took in this book, and I'm just gonna go off of my memory from finishing this book at 10:30 last night. And, those. I would like you to know that in the beginning of each chapter is an Einstein quote.
Not Einstein. Oh, I knew the first one.
It is described that her father, the character's father, Laura? I think it's Laura, not Lena. I think it's Laura. For some reason I'm remembering, I don't know. And his name's Logan, the love interest. Her father was someone who, quoted Einstein a lot, and so that's why it's described why there's Einstein quotes a lot. The first one being, the weak revenge, the strong forgive, the intelligent ignore. Fuck that, Einstein wasn't always right. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Now that I agree with, it means they forget you're coming for them, and their screams sound so much prettier when the time finally comes. That is how the book starts.
I don't care, that's so real.
So, the book starts with her, the way I want to check to make sure that her name's actually Laura, I'm going to. The only reason I remembered his name is Logan, because every time a character's named Logan, I just picture either Logan from Veronica Mars or Logan from Gilmore Girls.
The first Logan I think of is Logan Learman.
I love that for you.
It's Lana.
It's Lana. It's Lana. Okay.
Wow. He's just making a mess of him.
So the book starts with Lana at a coffee shop, and whatnot, drinking coffee on her own, whatnot. Some guy who's like clearly attractive and thinks highly of himself, wearing an expensive suit, comes up to her and tries hitting on her. She's not interested. She turns him down like multiple times, and he's still trying. Eventually he gets the idea, and so says something along the lines of, "That's fine. I didn't want frostbite on my dick anyways." That was like page 3. And so, he leaves, goes back to the, like, I don't know, where his friend is. She is quickly, okay, so there's a lot of profiling in this book, right? My Criminal Minds watching ass was fucking having a good time with that. Between Hannibal and Criminal Minds, my brain was just eating this shit up, okay? And so, right?
There's always not you coded. I know who you are as a person. I was like, yeah.
Listen, if you hear a serial killer who is getting revenge on the people who assaulted her, very much like the Dead Girl Barrel gang, I don't remember the name of the gang, I don't know, in Dexter, mixed with, or dating,
I never finished Dexter,
the FBI detective who is hunting her down. Like, it's iconic. It's iconic, okay? Like, there's no better description of enemies to lovers, because they don't even know they're enemies. Well, she knows they're enemies. He does not.
I'm so glad you found another thing to be, another 5-star. How many are you
It's a 4.5, not 5, because the ending
Oh my
wasn't what I.
god.
There was like a thing where like I wanted the ending to, or I thought the ending was gonna be one way. And I'll describe it when it happens, but it wasn't that. It was still a shocking revelation, but it wasn't that.
Do you
And
think you're gonna get a 5-star out of the series though?
oh, I'm willing to bet it, yeah. Which is very
Okay.
exciting for me. Like this one was so close to being 5 stars.
That's so sad.
I know, right? I have 44 5-star books.
44?
Mhm.
That's still not enough. I'm so sorry.
I know, right? I got so close to getting to 50 last year, and I wanted it so bad.
Let's get to 75 this year.
I think we can do it. The way that I've
Yeah.
been more accurately DNFing books, I should be able to do it. So, this guy goes back to his friend. His friend, she is profiling them from afar, realizes that, like, there's, like, their dynamic is not, like boss and employee, so they must be coworkers and whatnot. But like he doesn't have it as an expensive a suit, so like maybe the other guy comes from family money. All this stuff is going through her head as the other guy is laughing at his friend for being turned down and whatnot. She gets up to leave and tell the waitress to like she's ready for the check, and the waitress is like, yeah, that guy paid for you. Said thank you for the great entertainment and even left a great tip and everything. And so she doesn't like that. She doesn't like that. So she goes out, finds him talking on the phone while the other guy who hit on her is hitting on another girl who is clearly into it, right? And so she goes up to that guy, who is Logan. He's Logan. He's the love interest. And she goes to give him a $20 bill to be like, hey, I don't want you to pay for my stuff, and all this stuff. Right? And he's all like, no, like, that was a great time, that was hilarious, all this stuff. She profiles him, realizes he's FBI, right? So then he profiles her back, and he gets too close, and she's like, oh shit, I thought I had locked all that shit up. I thought I locked up all that trauma. How did he catch it so fast?
Oh my god.
All this stuff. Right? And he quickly realizes that she, like, feels, like her walls have come down suddenly and all this stuff and very out in the open. And so he quickly apologizes, and gives her his number, which is where we learn that his name's Logan Bennett and he is FBI. He's a profiler and all this stuff. But they gotta go, and whatnot. So she says, okay, bye. And he drives off, right? And then the next chapter, I'm pretty sure, is the one where she kills Ben, which is the first victim we see. Now, the number of victims, I gotta sit up for this. Okay, so, like, why are you sending me posts right now? I'm talking about very important shit right now.
It's pretty. It's a pretty little painting. I just want to do this.
I do look at a lot of art stuff on Instagram.
There's 3 of them.
I see that. Is there gonna be a butterfly? I love butterflies. Oh,
I love
cool.
the glitter and the texture. It's so nice.
Yeah. I made a textured painting once. It was the shark from Bruce from Finding Nemo.
Oh my god, Bruce!
I don't know where it
Bruce!
is. It was in my dad's office. I don't know where it is now.
That's so sad. I want Bruce. I want to see Bruce. Give me Bruce. Can I have Bruce when you die?
Yeah, if you can find him. Ooh, the daisy too. I like the daisy.
I've been wanting to paint lately. I don't know why.
I'm surprised. I haven't painted in like years, which is rare for me. So I think I put all my artistic and also like all my creative energy and all my analyzing art energy into this podcast. Like I've just put all in here.
Something so I can see it. Thank you.
So, okay, the victims. Okay, so I think Ben is described as the 5th victim of hers. Now this is where I talk about how should I go? I think I'm gonna go into what we know about these people. Maybe a little bit now. instead of like being separated by the like 16 chapters throughout the book. I'm gonna go into more detail now, but basically, Ben is the fifth victim. She kills two other people in this book, right? And it is insinuated that there is another person who she is saving for last because she wants him to know that she's coming for him. And she wants him scared and afraid. Very Rosalie energy. Very Rosalie energy in that way. Iconic? Where's my Rosalie movie?
Why are we getting a Renesmee and Jacob book when we could get a Rosalie book? Or literally any other book?
God. Yeah, so that's her plan. Because he is the worst of the batch and all the stuff. But there's, like, a whole issue where, like, that's very far down the line. Because, yeah. So it's insinuated there's at least a good chunk of people more that she hasn't killed on this list. Like, a lot of people. Which is where it gets very depressing about what was done to her. Basically, it's like, what I gathered, my theory is that her father worked as a custodian, because there's a point where she talks about custodial stuff, and she says, that her father knew or was friends with a custodian, but she, like, stops herself from saying, something else, so I assume he worked at, like, the school or something as a custodian, right? It was hinted that he was, accused of some kind of assault of some kind, right? And he had a good lawyer, so I think he got off or something like that, right? And so, for revenge, all these teenage boys, who, their age range, according to the FBI, are, like, they're all, like, 4 years apart from the same town. So, like, they're all, at this time, like, 14 to 18 years old, right? Kidnap both her and her brother. And is not explicitly described anything, but very, very, very heavily that just, like, insinuated that she was gang raped and her brother, was, tortured and mutilated, at the same time, right? And their reasonings, on top of, like, what, they believed her father did, were she was a whore because she slept with two men before that, and that her brother was gay, and so they deserved it.
What?
Have I brought up the fact that this is a small religious farm town? Yes. When I get into the third chapter is when it starts talking about, like, the police's or the FBI's assumptions profile on her as the killer.
My God.
But who isn't actually, like, they have no clue it's her type thing, right? It goes into stuff about this town more, so I'll go into that then. But yeah, that's basically that. I will also bring up that there is Jacob, who is her work partner, both in, like, her cover work, to cover, like, why she's traveling so much and all this stuff, right? But also, like, does all the, stuff where, like, hacks into security systems, watches them, around the clock, so, like, she knows all the victim schedules, all this stuff, so that she can, like, get in and out of places easily, and do the murders, and helps her out, and whatnot. He is the son of the lawyer for her dad, right? And also bisexual. We love the representation.
Yes.
And was dating her brother at the time. And also, it is confirmed that her brother died.
Oh.
And they assumed she died.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the good times with the first kill. So when she does it, she watches them for, like, months beforehand, with security cameras that she sets up, right? A lot of the times they don't lock their own doors or anything, so she can just, like, go right in, right?
Imagine not being able to not lock your doors.
I mean, white men shit, I guess, I don't know.
Well, they're not immune from getting robbed.
I know, right? There's, like, one of the two she kills later on in the book is married, and even she doesn't lock the doors, right? And I was just like, what the hell kind of bullshit is this? So.
Have you ever accidentally left your door unlocked?
We don't really lock our doors here because we live in the middle of nowhere. If someone comes to rob me at this point, you went through so much effort.
Well,
like,
you know what I mean. Because, like, sometimes we forget to lock the door, and it's like, oh, we could have died. We didn't, though. I do live in a sort neighborhood.
When people are away, it's just me by myself. For multiple days, I do lock every door, though. I should say that.
No, because, did I ever tell you they're putting a school, like, right down the street? Like a high school right down the street. Yeah, so they're almost done building it. But I live on the edge of town, right beside the highway.
Mhm.
And now it's always quiet here, and nothing happens. I mean, yeah, there's like chases down the highway, but you just hear them go. You just hear all the noises them driving by. But like in the actual neighborhood, nothing really happens. Now, when there's a school, literally, I could walk to it, like, and it would not even get me out of breath. You know, that's how close it is. Tell me how that's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a fucking 20-something-year-old being like, get off my lawn!
Me. Yeah, no. Plus our road is kind of hidden, so like, if you somehow get here, God, imagine. So she watches them with the security cameras she sets up, right, along their property, and like, gets in, leaves like windows open and whatnot so you can easily get in and out, all this stuff. Both her and Jake watch the security cameras for like months, to like one, get what their schedule is down, right? So to know when best to plan. And also so they can like any like door codes, like one of the two that she kills later on, has like a keypad code type thing to enter the house, right? But like, she sets up when the security camera's pointing right towards it, so like she can see, she knows what the code is after one day of watching the cameras, right? And that
work smarter, not harder.
I know, right? Speaking of working smarter, so when she does go to do the kill, she wears men's boots. It is described later on that Jake specifically designed them so that the toe aspect is heavier than the heel aspect, so when she steps, it looks like an even step. Because of course her toes aren't like all the way up front, right? Because they're like size 12 men's. So like then it looks like a normal step, instead of someone wearing shoes that are too big for them. And also, she straps two backpacks, one on the front, one on the back, that are filled with rocks when she enters into the house, so that it looks like she is heavier than she is. It is, in the next chapter, the police do believe that she is a 210, 215 pound man who is muscular. Iconic!
Crazy.
So basically, so the tracks show that she's man, and then when she enters the house, she takes off the bags and the shoes and puts them up high so that, like, she can silently sneak through the house, and there's no other tracks. And then, so while Ben is in the shower, she sets up, right, all ready for him. So when he comes out of the bathroom, she instantly stabs him right in, like, the shoulder. Or no, she cuts his Achilles heel, is what she does at that point.
Oh my god.
So he's on the ground, he's all like, take all my money, I don't care. Right? So this is, her next step is that she quotes to them what they would say to her while they raped her.
Oh my god.
And so that's when they realize, oh shit, that's who you are. But they're all like, Victoria, you're dead, because that was her birth name, right? She was Victoria. So they're like, Victoria, you're dead. She's like, well, you should have killed me better. Right?
I mean, yeah!
So she then, her thing is to, like, crouch and make herself look small so they think that they can tackle her or take her down. Because she is, like, planning for them to attack her so then she can strangle them. right? And she like purposely doesn't use any like sedatives or anything because that's what a woman would use. She strangles them with wire and makes sure to do it at the ground level, so it looks like the police can't tell that she's like not over like 5'5", right?
Yeah.
All this stuff, dude. She's got like all of it down. We love an icon. She played for like 2 years. I would like to bring this up.
I
Like for
can tell.
the first 5 years of her was like her like dealing with the trauma, trying to become a normal person again, all this stuff. And then afterwards it was like 2 years of planning, and then for the past 5 months she's been actually doing the revenge. And honestly,
That's crazy.
iconic.
That's crazy.
Right? So then once I think like they try to attack her, so she stabs them and then she strangles them, like stabs him in the shoulder, then strangles him with the wire, right? And then she basically the amount of times the amount of turns they took with her is the amount of, and I quote, pounds of flesh over the same amount of days. So it's for him it's 3 pounds of flesh over the next 3 days.
Oh my god.
Part of this, like, when the police investigate, there's, like, chunks of flesh missing. Like, she doesn't take it or anything, but it's missing. Sometimes they lose, like, all their, like, she cuts off all their fingers sometimes for fun. And the last thing she takes off is their penises.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's iconic. And then, while they're still alive, bleeding out, she paints the walls with their blood. Literally.
That's iconic.
Honestly, I just love her so much.
Like, if you're gonna do it. Like, yeah.
If you're gonna do it, you might as well go ahead. So, yeah, so it's like her doing the murders, right? Well, this murder. And then it cuts to, Logan at the FBI headquarters and whatnot, looking into the case, because this is one of his 3 cases. They've recently realized the connection between, Ben and 4 other, kills that are all in, like, separate states and whatnot, but they realized that all these men are from the same small town, right? So that's why the FBI are looking into it. There's that one. There is a serial killer called the Boogeyman, I believe, who is
LOL.
yeah, who his whole thing is stabbing women slowly, letting them bleed out as he rapes them.
Wow.
Just a great guy. And then there's another serial killer that they're
Okay, maybe his name is fitting after all.
And then there's like a serial killer / robbery thing happening, right? That is also going down. So those are the 3 cases that he is currently working. Oh, I have a great giant quote, of, stuff. I should tell you, Craig is the guy who, initially flirted with her at the coffee shop, and he is like the public relations guy for the FBI, and whatnot. Meanwhile, Logan is like one of the head profilers.
You know.
Yeah. So they're like,
let's say like Craig. I don't know.
So they're all like talking about the case, right? And Craig assumes that the killer must be female, because like the cutting off penises thing, and whatnot. And then so I think there's Hadley is one of the female FBI agents, and the other one is Elise, right? And so Elise brings up the fact that women serial killers statistically don't torture and are more efficient because and harder to track down because of that, which iconic. And then another one of the FBI agents named Alan, there's so many of them, says that he has to be impotent. Most serial killers are. And Alan and Craig are not profilers, the rest of them are. And Elise thinks that he's a sexual sadist, and that impotence is a part, but just calling them impotent isn't like a profile, all this stuff. And so, yeah, that's like currently the theory's going down on her kills, right? So the town that they're from is 500 population, and in the past 3 years, the only thing of interest that happened was a wolf attacked a man in his cow pasture. And it's very religious.
Um,
Yeah. Uh, so.
If I'd have lived like that, I would have already killed myself.
So also it's like planned where one kill a month, and the time frame has not changed, and it doesn't look like any like specific things have changed. Like it hasn't looked like the kills have become more frantic or anything. And so like normally at this point it'd be like a rapid the evolution of like what's going on become frantic, especially since like there's a whole theory with the whole impotent plus sexual sadist theory that like they have this whole theory that since he's from a small town he's gay and these men harassed him at some point about this, right? And so he hasn't raped any of them yet, but like maybe that's gonna start happening soon and all this stuff, but like none of that stuff is happening. He should be slipping up by now. What's happening? It's almost like she's too smart for you. So around this point, so he's like talking about, I think, yeah, they're talking about the case, and then Craig comes up to Logan and is all like, "Hey, has the Ice Princess called you back?" I'm talking about Lana, right? And he's about to say no when she calls him.
Real.
And I'm just gonna quote this line with her to you. With her defenses down, she was lost, almost worried about being hurt just from speaking to me. Call it a hero complex, but I found myself drawn to her right then.
I have mixed feelings about that.
He very instantly is like simp mode obsessed with her, and he recognizes it. And he's like, I should fix this. And then spends a whole weekend in bed with her. So like,
well, I guess you can fix it like that. I don't know how well that's gonna fix it though. So
I know, right?
It'll fix something for sure, but
there's some great. God, their text messages in this are so funny. There's at one point where he's talking about Craig and whatnot, and she's like, "Who the hell is Craig?" Because she never got his name at the coffee shop, and he's all like laughing very hard, loving that she doesn't know who Craig is, and he's all like, "Oh my god, you're great." She's like, "No, really, who is Craig?" And he's like, continue talking, and then he brings up Craig again, and he brings up like, have you always gone to that coffee shop? Craig and I were just suddenly there because the normal coffee shop we go to was closed down for renovations and whatnot. And she's like, "Oh, that's Craig." And she
why is that us coded?
I know, right? And she literally forgets his name at the point where, like, later on, she's like, "I don't know what his name is, Mr. C name?" And Logan really loves this. Also, every time that they're texting, just assume that he's doing some work thing and he's, like, smiling a lot, and everyone else is noticing that he's smiling or laughing a lot because he's just, like, he's having a good time. Yeah. There's, like, some things where, like, so they're, like, flirting on the phone, and texting and whatnot, and he realizes that, like, sometimes her replies to things or, reactions to things are not what he expected from, like, his quote-unquote profile of her. And whatnot. Which always, like, confuses him briefly, but then, like, he's all just like, "Oh, she's so attractive. I love her so much."
Hear me out. People are unpredictable no matter what you can discern about them.
True. Yeah, also, he does have this thing where he does, like, Hadley look up her, profile through the FBI database to see, like, if, she is a suspect or anything, or, like, a criminal of any kind, because then, like, he can't date her, right? And so he does warn her beforehand that he does this, right?
Yeah.
So, a quote from her point of view: "I lived, others died. I lived, yet I feel dead." I just quoted that because I thought you'd like that.
Yeah. You know me so well. You really do. It's a thing.
So, then, oh yeah, and then another thing from her. It's not exactly romantic to think of a guy while you're slicing another one to pieces, but Logan was definitely on my mind during the 3 days I spent reaping the debt from Ben. I call that romantic. Thank you very much.
I agree.
Yeah, so they're texting, and whatnot, and she, is, I think, at this point, she says, hey, why don't you go against your protocols or whatnot, something like that, and look up my address and come see me. And he does.
Oh my god.
He immediately does. He does have an overnight bag with him, but that's like just because of his work, and he like puts it in his backseat and like hides it just so like she knows that that wasn't the plan, and whatnot, right? And so
why he kind of
so he's like driving to her place, but he didn't reply to that, so she just assumed that like he got caught up with work or something, and not the. So she's like, I dropped back down to my seat, wondering how planning out a brutal murder is easier than dating.
Oh my god.
Yep. Hilarious. There's also, I think before this there was like another phone call they had, where he's like asking her out. They go out and to the coffee shop, and he gets her a muffin because she's all like, I don't have coffee afternoon, and he's like, okay, coffee only in the morning. Got that down. Right.
I remember that.
Yes, I brought that up to you. But they're like flirty talking on the phone as he's driving home, right, to sleep. And he's all like, no, I want to stay on the phone with you. I want you to keep me company while he's driving.
If someone said that to me, I would just go. I would have to end it all right then and there because.
I know, right?
Ain't no way.
Yep. So she is currently watching the security cameras. I think it's Lawrence. Okay, there's two other people she kills, and they're Lawrence and Tyler, I think are their name. And I think it's Lawrence that she's watching, but it may be Tyler.
Do you hear Kiki?
One of them, yes, I can hear her. She's watching one of them, with the security camera she just set up. They've already got the codes to his house, and whatnot. And she has also cloned his phone, so any text messages she can see. So, like, both her and Jake are, like, texting, watching him text this girl. He's married, but he's texting another girl, flirting with her, sexting her, and all this stuff, right? I just remembered something. And so,
honestly, what's the point of getting married if you know you're just gonna cheat on this person anyway?
I know, right? She's all like, I can use this as like a thing to get his wife out of the house,
like,
and whatnot, to like
you don't
kill
have
him
to
later
get married. You don't have to be monogamous. Like,
I don't know, man. So, yeah, so they're watching them flirting, and they're both like, ew, gross. And they're talking about work stuff, right? As, like, this guy takes out his pants and starts jacking it, and literally her thought process is, I remember him being fast. Don't worry, I'll make it nice and slow for him. Honestly, I love her so much. I guess I should talk about her day job, quote unquote, which is basically, she owns her own business where she, like, trade business, like, you know how, like, people will trade items online and whatnot,
yeah.
And basically her job is to, like, make sure that there is equal, payment on both sides and whatnot, and sometimes if something, like, needs to be held for some amount of time, she takes ownership of it in the meantime, and make sure that everything is up for code and is proper quality and all this stuff, right? Which means, that's her cover for traveling, because, like, maybe she has a client in, like, New York and she's got to check out a boat or something, right? And Jake is the one who does, like, all the online business stuff for her, right?
That's so smart.
I know, right? Oh, this great quote about her relationship with Logan. The problem is that he's sort of my opposite in the not-so-good way, meaning I kill people and he catches killers, and I can't stop. I wish I hadn't met him so early on in my list. There are still many more names in my list. I still have to right so many wrongs.
What if I read this too?
So her original name was Victoria Evans. The stuff happened 10 years ago, and she had a bunch of surgeries to, one, change how she looks.
Victoria Raven is such a name.
And yeah. She like there was a lot of scarring, right? So she had a lot of surgeries to remove the scarring. There's still like some faint ones on her face and whatnot, if like that are barely noticeable if she's not wearing makeup. And she spent like a shit ton of money to make sure there's as few scars as possible. But because of that, she doesn't look like Victoria anymore. So the same day that they assumed she died, right, that she was supposed to die, there was an heiress who died in a car accident named Kennedy Carlisle, who was an orphan and whatnot, right? And so Jake, I think it was, switched the death certificates, so it said that she died and Kennedy survived, and gave her Kennedy's ID and like whatnot, and then she legally changed Kennedy's name, quote unquote legally changed Kennedy's name to Lana or Lena. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's how she's been able to get away with it. Anyways, so yeah, he shows up to her house. She's not wearing pants.
What's the point of wearing pants at home?
I know, right? I'm like, it's like maybe 40% of the way through the book at this point. They have their first kiss when she opens the door. And then very, very quickly, things get spicy. She's very happy that she switched all the security cameras to just normal news stuff and locked up her murder room. And she's like, I gotta. I know, right? And she's like, I just gotta make sure I lock up all my weapons into the murder room from now on, right? Yeah. So he like comes in. They go at it. She is like reasoning, because like she recognizes it's dangerous. She doesn't know for a fact that he's studying her case, but she's pretty sure he is. So she's like, I don't know if like she knows that she shouldn't do this and whatnot. It's dangerous, but she's all like, this is the first time I've actually felt like alive, and she feels like she deserves to feel this in the meantime, because at the end
she dies.
No, because at the end, and I quote, because I doubt I'll make it out of this alive.
Oh my god. Why would you do this to me?
Also, another quote about her. I can't help but wonder how things might have been if my past hadn't been derailed and clusterfuck to hell and back. I think he would have really liked the old me. I was clever, funny, quick-witted, and slightly dramatic. I also cried if I accidentally killed a bug.
Why is that me coded? I don't like it here.
And then, hear me out, they bang, and I quote, I've been controlling sex since I found it in me to be intimate again. This is the first time I felt comfortable letting a guy lead.
What is happening?
And then afterwards, she's like, we're doomed anyway, the monster never gets the prince. It's always the sweet and innocent princess who wins.
Bessie,
Alright, so, she's naked, right? Because bang a bang a bong a bong.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
No,
I would like every time they have sex, it is blatantly said that he puts on a condom. Just perfect.
Yeah, that's like never mentioned in books, I feel like.
Yeah, no, the only other ones I can think of on the top of my head who have purposely mentioned birth control or condoms is and safe sex stuff and being clean beforehand and all this stuff is Katie Robert. So yeah.
No, man.
So some of the scars that they could not remove, and she's like really nervous. Okay, so she's really nervous when he's about to like remove her shirt because of this, right? And he doesn't really notice because like she's also not wearing a bra. So when he sees that Oh yeah, also when they were making out before they started getting all hot and heavy, he like purposely wasn't like roping her boobs or anything, and she's just like, oh my god. He's so kind. No other man would. And I was just like, yes, we love a man. So he doesn't know that she's not wearing a bra, so he's really distracted because of boobs. But eventually he realizes the only scars that really couldn't be removed are scars from on each side, on like her hip all the way up to her breast. Jagged and very long and very deep. Right?
Did they try to fillet her? Oh my god.
Right? And so, oh, it's, scar travels from her left hip to her right breast. Okay, so it's a giant X, I guess. I don't know. I read it wrong. They're old scars. He can instantly knows that. But she is worried about taking off her shirt because she is worried about his reaction and whatnot. And all that fun stuff. Right, valid, get it. And he notices her hesitation, and he's immediately like, "We can stop whenever you want. It's up to you." Like, he's immediately like, "Oh, you're hesitating? Okay, I'm stopping. We can stop whenever you want." Right? Like, he's in the middle of taking off his pants. He's like, "We can stop whenever you want." Right? And then when they do go into Pound Town, right? He's all like, "Tell me what if you want to stop." And she's like, "I never want to stop." And I'm just like, wow, we love a man who has consent. Just
mind blowing.
I know, right? She describes the way the scars, saying that it was a car accident. I think they briefly talked about their families at this point, so he knows that her, fake family, her fake parents died in a car crash, so he's like the same one. She's like, no, a different one. Basically using the excuse that the person whose identity she stole was in a car accident, right? And all that stuff. He doesn't have, I think his mom is questionable. She, around her mid-30s, decided to, start, sleeping around and just marrying rich men, right? So she's left his stepfather to do that. She wasn't really around. His stepfather's basically the man who raised him. And, like, that's why he has the house he has, because he left it to him, and all this stuff. And he never knew his biological father, really, and all this stuff. So that's
I wish I never knew mine either.
There's also, like, this whole thing where they both are lonely, and whatnot, and he is worried because he notices from her killings that all these men are, like, living alone and in the middle of nowhere, and the only reason, like, also there's this whole thing where you may be wondering, how are she kidnapping these men for, like, 3 days and nobody noticing? Because she calls out of work as them. Like, has recordings of them calling out of work and uses them saying, like, they're calling out of work.
Oh my god.
And so that's why nobody finds them. And so then he's all like, I'm, like, same victim profile. Like, I live on my own, in the middle of nowhere, all this stuff. And, like, nobody would notice if I go missing, except for work coworkers and all this stuff. And he's like, I want somebody to notice if I go missing.
Oh my god.
And he wants it to be her.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So, he goes, the serial, I think it's the serial killer slash, what is it? Robbery one. He figures out, the clue he figures out is that, he's looking at all the victims' faces, and he realizes, all these victims have symmetry in their faces. Well, not, I remember a Criminal Minds episode like this. And so, and also,
Why would it be a candidate there?
I know, right? And that there's, like, weird clay around, the crime scene, and all the girls' heads are, like, shaved and then, like, bleached, right?
I already have that done by myself.
And all this stuff. And he's like, wait a second, Da Vinci. Because Da Vinci was very big on symmetry, especially facial symmetry and all this stuff. And so he realizes that the killer is obsessed with that. That's why the clay's there, because he's trying to make their faces, like, he can't make it out of his mind's eye, so he's, like, killing these girls and then using their faces for the busts, and then he turns them into bronze statues like Da Vinci would do. But in order to pay for that, that's why he's robbing them, because bronze is, like, not cheap. And so they track him down from, like, art sales and stuff like that, right?
Oh my god.
So he's all like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I can't like go out with you tonight. I have to go catch this serial killer." Right? All this stuff as they're like all leaving to get in the helicopter. And she tells them, and I quote, "Come back in one piece no matter what you have to do in order to make that happen. That's the only thing I'll ever expect to survive." Um, and then he says, "That I can promise."
I hate you.
Uh-huh.
I hate you. Just thought you should know.
Yeah. So it just so happens, hilariously, she does not know this at this time, but the exact he's going to New York City. She happens to also be going to New York City because uh the guy that she's currently watching and planning to kill, right, is going to New York City and talking to one of the other guys she plans to kill. Yeah, so she puts on like a blonde wig, dresses up like a hooker. Jake shows up, pretends to be a blind man. It's a thing.
Oh my god.
And takes her out to the same restaurant on the terrace, right? And then they put in earpieces so they can overhear what they're saying. And so they have two suspects on who's killing them all off one by one. One of them is this other guy who was there. She doesn't know what to do about that guy because, like, technically he didn't want to be there. They forced him to be there, but like he didn't say anything about everything that was happening. So like she doesn't know what to do about him. She's like thinking about maybe just like cutting out his tongue or something, right? When overhearing the conversation, because like one of them is like, well, why can't it be that guy? Like, he really hated that we did this and all this stuff, and he could have gone, like, he's not gonna go to the police, but, like, what if he's hunting us down? And the other one's like, well, no, his sister is, like, sending me photos of him doing all this church stuff, far away, and all this stuff. And it turns out, the reason they have confirmation that it's not that guy is because one of them threatened that if he didn't help out, they would kidnap his sister and do it to her as well.
Why?
And so that's why
That's so interesting.
And so all the religion stuff is like him just coming to terms with everything that happened and whatnot. And so she's all like, fine, I guess I won't kill that guy. It makes sense why he was there then and didn't say anything. And then so the only other suspect they have is Jacob. And so also there's like this whole thing where like the whole town knew that this was happening, but hated them. So they didn't care.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So the only person who didn't hate them was Jacob. But Tyler says that he saw Jacob 2 years ago, ran into him at a company thing. They fist bumped, and offered to hang out, and assumed if he had known he would have punched him, and assumed that both Victoria and her brother died before he could learn the truth, and he left town. And so it's not like he was around for the rumors, so there's like even rumors of like what actually happened. Right.
Oh my god.
And also, so like they had planned this whole like running into Tyler thing, right? And he was pretending to be paralyzed in a wheelchair from a motorcycle. So accident. So there's like no way he could be doing the killings.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is so. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then there's the grade A line that I don't know anyone else who would be enraged over rapist, whore daughter, and fag son. Yeah, she's very angry. She wants to murder some bitches at this moment in time.
Valid.
Yeah, and the words described to what happened to her brother is mutilated. We love that. So Tyler leaves. I think Tyler's the one that she's been stalking recently, right? Lawrence has like a roommate and everything. So at this point, Jake and her decide, hey, what about if we kill them together? And also, Jake, want to help with this one. Cough, cough. Good times. So shortly after Tyler leaves, like they wait a little bit of time, and then they get up to leave as well. And as they're walking past their table, Lawrence grabs her wrist. She's like low-key freaking out, for obvious reason. And she's all like, I want to rip out his throat, but I gotta fight this. And he winks at her and hands her his card, trying to, say something like, oh yeah, he says, call me sometime, sweetheart. A girl who looks like you needs someone to appreciate all those sights. Because, like, Jacob's pretending to be blind.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sick.
Yeah. So they leave the restaurant. They're walking across the street to her car when at like a food truck next to her car is Craig and Logan.
Oh God. Oh God.
So she's like, oh my God, it's him. At this point, Jake has just learned that she's dating an FBI agent. He's like, bitch, what the fuck? Yeah. So, yeah, that happens. I feel like there was another thing I wanted to bring up, but I don't remember what it is, so I'm moving on. Oh, I remember. It was the gay thing. Okay, so, like, with their theory that, the killer is gay and, it's revenge for, harassment he got for being gay in this small religious town, right? They go to all the people, like, they're asking around town, and whatnot, including the sheriff of the town, or the county, really, to be like, hey, is there anyone who, like, possibly could have been gay from around this time period? And there, is very heavily hinted that, they believe, being gay is a sin, and that, being gay is only a thing the, people who move out to the city do. It's not for these small towns. You know.
You need these bitches to be serious.
Yeah. And then when they bring up the guys who have been murdered from this town, they're all like, oh, well, it's their own don't fault. That's what happens when you leave the town and go to the city, all this stuff, right? Right. So he, he returns back to, I think it's Virginia. She also returns home, all this stuff. I think Hadley looks into her, I can't think of words, money situation, and learns that she's super rich and brings it up to Logan, and Logan's all like, listen, don't do that, but, like, thanks for letting me know, I guess, and whatnot, and, he also looks into more of her past and learns that, like, she has no family, and whatnot, and that, like, makes him really sad. We love a man, but he also feels bad that he did that, and whatnot, right, so they're both back in town. He wants to take her out for dinner, but, like, there's a good chance that he's gonna have to, like, go off and do more work soon, even though he technically does have some time off because he just pulled that Da Vinci shit out of his ass and, like, caught a killer, right? So, and they're, like, looking into giving him a promotion again, so they're, like, they both have free time. And so, she goes over to his place this time, and he is going to take a shower. So, and he was, like, looking at case stuff, the boogeyman killer, out on the counter. So while he's in the shower, she's just looking at the files, right? There's, like, this whole thing where he, when he goes to catch the serial killer slash robbery guy, the Da Vinci guy, right? He, like, starts telling her some stuff about the case, and she's like, are you allowed to tell me this? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, then don't. I don't want you to get in trouble. You don't have to tell me the things that you can't tell me. Like,
yeah,
that's fine. And he's just, like, surprised that she doesn't care about his wacky work schedule, or that he can't tell her some things about work and whatnot, and all this stuff, right? So he comes out of the bathroom to see her, like, looking at the case files, and he is all like, oh, sorry, I shouldn't have left those out. She has said before that she couldn't do, because she, like, took criminology cases, in college is her excuse for knowing a lot of things, right? And he asked why she didn't go into it, and she, says, because she's, like, clearly good profiler, and she says it's because, she can't handle the gore like that, and so he's all like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I know, right? And he's like, oh, sorry, I left out all these cases, like, pictures and whatnot, right? Because, like, they're gruesome. She doesn't need to see it. And so he's all like, oops, sorry. And starts, like, to pack them away, and she's all like, I didn't know this was a big deal. I thought, like, it was okay to see closed cases, and whatnot. And he's like, not freshly ones, and also this one's not like closed. It's just a case I'm working on right now. So she feels really bad that she looked at a case she wasn't supposed to look at. And he's like, nah, at this point you've already seen it, so I want to know your expertise on this case, right? Right. And so she's all like, am I supposed to, like, allowed to do this? And he's like, nope, but do it anyways. And so she looks at it, and that's when she puts the pieces together to, like, custodian stuff, which is the part where, like, it's heavily insinuated in my thoughts and opinions that her father worked as a custodian of some kind or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And how they know specific things about getting in and out of places and security camera stuff and all that fun stuff, right? Right? And so he with all the like it's like pages of stuff that she like discerns from all this stuff, and he's like, I never thought of that stuff. Okay, let me call up one of my partners and tell them about all this stuff. And he says when they like ask how did you come up with this, he says my girl figured it out. Can you look into this? And she's like, oh my god, you are gonna get in trouble for saying I did this, but also you call me your girl, and also you sound proud about it. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's so real.
And he's all like, I just closed like a really big case, with like very easily and saved a girl's life. Like, it's fine. It's not like you're gonna fire me over this, right? So, there's like after like doing that, there's this whole thing where like instead of having the whole weekend together, they're gonna only have like one night and whatnot. So he takes her to the bedroom, and there's like this whole thing where she's like staring at him being really hot, doing stuff at the kitchen and whatnot, and she's all like warning him that there's a good chance that like, the killer will try to go after him. I think there's also like this whole thing where like she sees his scars for the first time, right? And he tells the stories of like the guy coming up behind him and stabbing him, and like a guy shooting him from like hiding in like a closet and whatnot. And she's like, hey, you're a big muscular guy, right? It's explained that he's like much taller than her, right? And so like they always have to come up behind you to kill you and all this stuff. And like talk about how he's strong. And he's all like, oh really, you think I'm strong? There's like some things where he's all like, I'm not really that good at my like at that. Like it's fine, it's whatever. Like I got stabbed once and shot once, but it's like not that big of a deal. Like trying to like blow past it. And she's all like,
Sure.
I know, right? And he's all, and so she's like, oh, so you don't think you're big and strong? And he's like, no, I'm strong. I'm really strong. And she's like, I can take you. Because she has, like, did I mention she has, like, 5 black belts and, like, took all these self-defense classes and all this stuff, right? So she's like, I can take you. And he's like, maybe at another point we'll figure this out, as they're, like, going to the room, right, to do the nasty. And in her head, she's like, I decided I want to know if I can take him or not. I just want to pretend like I'm a normal girl with a normal guy in a normal relationship for one normal night.
Oh my god. I want to be more funny, but I'm actually just trying to fully absorb this. Like, I kind of want to read it. Like, no joke.
Yeah. So, the next morning, first thing in the morning, they're like cuddling in bed, being very cute, and lovey-dovey, and there's like this whole thing where he's like much larger than her, and she likes it when he holds her, very like uses his strength to hold her and keep her secure, and she really likes his hugs and whatnot. It's fine. I'm fine with that information.
Yes.
Okay. And he's like, when I go close this case, when I come back, I want to actually take you out for dinner, all the stuff. He remembers that she likes wine and lobster. Give me a man.
Have you eaten lobster before? I feel like you've had lobster before.
I'm from Maine. Of course I've had lobster before.
Listen, I forget, okay? I've never had lobster. I've had like 2 kinds of fish ever.
Listen, for 4th of July, whenever I would go to my grandparents in Maine for 4th of July, every year they would just have a giant tub of lobster.
I don't know how I feel about how you cook lobster, you know?
Yeah, I get that. You know, I've had lobster, most seafood I've had. I've had swordfish. I've had crab.
Literally all I've ever had is catfish and tilapia.
Yeah, I've had catfish, tilapia, salmon. I'd like everyone to know I do not like normal fish. I've also had like bass and all this stuff. The only kind of
Whatever
normal
fish
fish
you want to
I
call
like,
fish sticks.
the only normal type of fish I like is salmon. The way my mom cooks it, because she does this like good lemon thing on it. And then I like basically any kind of fish, shellfish. I really like shellfish, but
I think I've had salmon once.
yeah, lobster and blueberries are like a big main thing. So.
Well, you can be the lobster. I can be the blueberry. There.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
it all works out always.
Okay. Yeah, she tells him to come back. There's also a point where she asks him if he's ever killed someone, and he said, yes, he was forced to, uh, and whatnot. And she's like, okay, and whatnot. And, she seems fine with it, and, it's one of those things that, like, clicks in his brain that's, like, a little weird against, like, the profile he made of her, but, like, sure, whatever. Right? Because, like, she's so hot, I ignore because boobs. Right?
Real.
I get it. We all had the honeymoon phase. Had we, like, warned him that he's just in that honeymoon phase, and that eventually she'll be annoyed by all the, like, long hours and weird hours and all this stuff, the way I want to read the next book so bad immediately, but I don't have enough time until next week. Um, so he goes to track down the boogeyman because they figure out who he is, right? Right. And at the same time, she and Jake are taking down Tyler and Lawrence. I think Jake is in charge of Tyler because he's the one that they've been watching, so they have like more details on him, right? Right. So she basically, from the duplicate of his phone stuff, sends his sexy messages to his mistress, to his wife. So his wife, leaves him, and so he's like, no one's gonna be looking for him for a few days type thing, right? Um, and, he had, like, so he takes, Tyler. It is described after, like, when he brings Tyler down to the basement thing. There's, like, something with, like, someone's property having a secret. I think it was Tyler's property, actually. Having a secret, like, shed and whatnot that they're gonna do it in, right? Have them both locked in. And maybe it was basement. And, that he, like, broke both of his legs.
Oh my god.
Yep. Jake has never really done this part because when she describes the gruesome parts, he usually, like, is throwing up, and all this stuff. So, like, this is new. And she's really excited about having someone who, like, understands her in this aspect, right? So she's in charge of taking down Lawrence. She's, like, hiding in an alleyway, right? In just, like, a sweater and, sweatpants. And, like, a few guys, because it's, like, New York City, right? So a few guys, like, come to try and attack her. One guy literally tries to rob her, and so she stabs him in the spine and then cuts his throat as he, like,
oh my god,
bleeds out next to the dumpster and then takes off all her, like, bloody clothes from that. And throws it in the dumpster, and, she's actually wearing the hooker outfit again, right? Obviously it's New York City, so other people see it, but they just, like, ignore it. Very funny. They're like, who's gonna believe me if I say, oh, hooker killed a robber? Like, what the hell, right? So she starts walking, and she perfectly times it so that she goes past Lawrence's office building as, he exits the office building normally, right? So he sees her, and he's instantly, like, grabbing onto her ass, and he, like, instantly recognizes her as the hooker, quote unquote. And so he's all like, oh, you're here for me. I know you like me. You're here on purpose. And she's like, oh, you want to go to my car? And he's all like, oh, I should not go to your car because, like, stranger danger. But of course I'm going to go to your car. Because he's, like, thinks he's a strong man and all this stuff.
awesome.
And so as soon as they get to, her car, she bashes his head against the door. Yep. Multiple times. And then,
I'm sorry, that making me fucking giggle like that.
Yeah, and then, she puts him in her car. It's like one of her fake cars. She has, like, definitely, like, multiple, like, cars, under different names and whatnot. So, like, they're not connected to her. And takes him to this basement, and straps him down to, like, you know those, like, cross-leg things?
my god.
You know, like, all those, like, torture porn movies, they have, like, those,
yeah.
like, things that they, like, hang them up on, right?
Yeah,
that's what she's hanging them up on. right? So she hangs him up, and she's just sitting in a dark corner where he can't see her, as he's, like, screaming, yelling, swearing, pees himself twice. She's having a good time, and he starts sobbing. And that's when, she starts quoting the things that he would say to her, and to her brother, to him, along the lines of stop crying, like something about crying and stuff like that. It will only make it worse. Things like that.
God.
Yep. And as she starts to do that, is when Tyler kicks down, or Jake kicks down Tyler, who's, like, in a lot of fucking pain because of 2 broken legs.
Yeah.
They strap him to the other one of those cross things, right? Jake gives her favorite knife, which is, known to be dull, so, like, it takes a lot of work to get it through the flesh, and it causes a lot more pain to, like, slice up their thighs, as she's quoting to them their lines that they told her, like things about, like, holding down her wrists, or else I'll let her claw out your eyes when it's your turn, and things like that. Yeah, and so, she's quoting these things, and they're like, shit, you Victoria. And she's like, yeah, you're all dumbasses, and whatnot. And so, she is, noticing that Jake is grinning through all this, and normally he has to miss his part, and if his stomach can handle it, she may have a new kind of partner, and that it's his revenge as much as hers, and that they both loved her brother Marcus, and they took him away. And then it cuts from the murders. But let me tell you, before it cuts from the murders, it says, and I quote, I hope you boys aren't sleepy. I changed my mind about your dead days. It's going to be a long week. So,
I support both of them. I agree with you.
We love an icon, really. So Logan has this whole time been chasing down the boogeyman, in another state and whatnot. He got away, and we learn from Logan's point of view that he never wanted to date a profiler, mostly because work and sex don't mix. He has an ex named Lisa, who, like, they broke up years ago. They've already had the ex talk, by the way, where he talks about how he doesn't really have any exes that she has to worry about, because, like, they were like angry breakups, and Lisa's described as working for him now, and she always makes life difficult for him, and whatnot. And when he asks about her, she says that the only long-term relationship she's been in, if she ever saw him again, she would burn him alive.
Oh.
He just thinks it's a thing that you say when you have a bad ex, but, you know, I mean,
he's not wrong, but, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's back, she's back around the same time. They both get back around the same time. He goes to her place instantly without texting her or anything, right? She has just gotten out of the shower, right? She, enters the door thinking it's Jake. And he's all like, who's Jake? And she's like, oh, my business partner. And he's like, is he gay? He better be gay. And what's his name so I can look him up? And she's like, he's bisexual, but he leans more towards men. And also he's more of a brother to me. You don't have to worry about him. He's very much protective and jealousy type person, right? Yeah. So, they're doing, they all doing the nasty, and he's like, has his hand in her hair while they're making out, right, on the bed. And, his hand comes around way bloody. And she's all like, shit. He thinks that he was too rough and he hurt her. And she says that she was just doing some painting with Jake. Which is technically not wrong, because she did paint walls with blood.
Look at that shower! Like,
she had just gotten out of the shower. She just didn't get it all out.
Oh yeah. I know what's happening.
Yes. She was in the process. She had, like, just gotten out of the shower. So, she, like, says, shit, yeah, okay. So he, like, instantly recognizes, no, it's not paint, it's blood. And she's like, oh it must be Jake's blood. He, like, cut his finger, and, he must have gotten some in my hair. Whoops. and whatnot.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah. They bang. When he leaves to go do work things, we learn from her point of view that there was like blood splatter all over her floors, but like between the lights not being on and her wood flooring be dark, he didn't notice, and she was very lucky that she had already put her murder clothes in the burn pile, and once he left, she did like burn them, so like none of them were inside. Like she was really lucky, and she's gotta be more careful about that, right?
Oh my god.
So she's talking to Jake about this stuff, and Jake, warns her, like, okay, like, she is talking about her relationship with Jake, and he realizes, okay, this is, like, the light of her life, this is the one chance she has to feel something again before all this shit is over, right? So he's like, okay, fine, I get it, but, like, you have to be careful, you have to come up with plans, and all this stuff. And it's also insinuated that like the whole him being like seen in a wheelchair for 3 years, right, something wheelchair is because of a future plan they have, right? Cough. And he is worried about her, and he's like, okay, if there's like any insinuation that he knows anything about you, like you make sure that when he's asking questions, you answer them the way that you need to, and you also look into his questions and all this stuff, so you have time to get out if you need to, and all this stuff. And she agrees, and so he thinks she's safe from that. But also, there's this whole thing because the boogeyman is still free, right? And so she's all like, he's gonna go after Logan because Jake has been looking into the boogeyman and found another new victim of the boogeyman. That he like hung, instead of like doing the normal hiding of the body, he like hung from a balcony, and it was like a judge's wife.
Oh my god.
And he made sure to leave DNA so they knew it was him, and carved Logan's name into the body.
Oh
so,
my
like,
god.
They're like worried this guy's gonna go after Logan, right? Makes sense. So this is what, okay, so like Jake is like, no, you don't, like, the best way to get to Logan though is through his girlfriend. So you have to be hella safe now, right? And he's worried about her, and she's all like, listen, and he's like, he's the type of guy who barges in, you don't know he's coming, he like beats you up, and then that's when he attacks and all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, I know, I'll be prepared, I'll make sure he gets a few good punches in so it looks believable, but then I'm taking him out. We love an icon.
How much longer do we have? Because my earbuds are dying.
Oh, like 5 minutes.
Okay, I think it'll be 5. Let's see, though.
Because this is, like, the part where I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure the way this is going to end is that she is, like, because at this point, she's hearing a car coming into her driveway, and she's, like, suspicious and whatnot, and I assumed it was the boogeyman. He was coming to get her. The book was going to end with her being kidnapped. But no, it's Hadley showing up, to her door, with, her file, and she knows, that she stole the identity of a dead girl.
Oh god.
That's how the book ends.
Oh my god.
And that's why it was a 4.5, not 5, because if it was actually the kidnapping, I was like, oh my god, how am I not gonna read this for 3 days? Like, what am I supposed to do?
No, because this is insane. No, like, I'm so serious, what if I do read them?
I mean, they're short. They're 130 pages each, so. I read it in an afternoon. It's a quick read. Caught up with my reading goal of books, not pages. Or hours. But total books, yes.
Well, you know.
But yeah, that's the book. It's good shit. I had too good of a time.
I had no thoughts only because I just wanted to know everything.
I know, that's why I made sure to tell you everything. Like, did I have to go into an hour and 20 minutes of detail about this 130-page book? No! In no other world would I do that. I would just give you the bare strokes, but I was like, I know the fish is gonna be so eating this shit up, I gotta make sure to tell them everything.
No, I really am. I was just so baffled and bewildered the whole time. I was just like, oh my god.
It's
and
like,
the one time I gasped, that was a genuine gasp. I was just like.
It's like if Mara Dyer and Bored Madly series, right, were
combined into
a book with Criminal Minds or Hannibal. and I'm just thriving. Okay, this shit is so me-coded. I don't... like, it's so perfect, and I love it.
I need you to...
Do you have anything else to say about the first book in the Mindfuck series?
Yes.
I'm glad to know that I apparently have found a new favorite series. This is what I needed in my life. So here's the thing. I've been kind of feeling sluggish about reading between the podcast. I'm reading like 4 to 5 books a month for just the podcast. And then there's like 5-ish books a month for my vlogs, personally. Right? Minimum. Right. So there's like not enough time, and then there's like book clubs. So there's like not enough time to like find things to mood read. So like I'm just reading these things for the things, and like I try to fit them.
You're supposed to mood read all this year.
So I'm like trying to fit them like around like what I want to read, but there's like also an issue of like I schedule things so ahead schedule where like it's not mood reading still and all this stuff. And I'm just, this is the first book of the year of like a good long while. I want to say since Secrets of Country and Gentlemen or whatever, Country Gentlemen, something like that. That like made me just excited to read. Like I was mad when I had to put it down to make dumplings. Like
real.
We love some good shit, and we love that for me because like I need to read good books.
Yes, you do.
I'd like more than half the months of the year this year, my average rating each month to be over 4. Like, I would like it to be over 4 for half the months. Please. Like, I don't need 3.2 one month. Or 2.8. I'm pretty sure February last year was 2.8.
Didn't we read Molly Southbourne last February? I wonder why it was so low.
Yeah, it was Molly Southbourne, and then it was a bunch of, like, random weird romances I got for free.
You did that to yourself with that.
Yeah, but that one, the only one that I actually finished in that vlog was very funny. It was hilarious. It was bad, but it was hilarious.
No, because every time you speak about things, all I'm hearing is, wow, I'm really not pulling my weight around here.
Well, it's not like you can edit the podcast.
That's why you need to write a book, so you can buy me a laptop so I can edit the podcast.
I don't think that's how it works, Bestie, but okay.
That's how it works. What are you talking about? You say hi, kitty.
Hi,
say hi, Kiki. I meant Kiki say hi to you, but you know, Rose said hi, Kiki, Roni.